So my name is Josh Carter. I'm from Watertown, South Dakota, and I am an undergraduate student at Montana State University working in the Wiedenheft Lab. I do primarily a lot of analysis on the computer, and so that takes two main sort of directions. One is a lot of bioinformatics, so we look at sequences of different proteins and try to see how the history of these proteins and how they've evolved over time to either keep or change different functions. There's also structural analysis, and X-ray crystal structures can provide us with a snapshot in time of how this protein looks in one action or doing one task. But we know that they do actually do other tasks, and they're in a very complex and dynamic environment. And so we can model those interactions with molecular dynamic simulations, which are run on the computer on very small time scales, down to the 1 femtosecond, which for scale, that's the distance that light travels, and a femtosecond is about the width of a human hair. So very, very small and very computationally intense. But what these simulations allow us to do is let us see what the protein acts like when it's interacting with this other protein, or when it's just sort of floating around in the cell, which can be very informative. And then especially when we combine those two approaches, the bioinformatics and the structural biology, we really get to see a nice sort of vivid, almost color picture of what this thing looks like. And it really helps to bring it to life and sort of take it off the bench and into not our imagination, but what we can see. Neither of my parents were actually scientists. My father was a farmer. My mom works for a newspaper. And so just growing up in South Dakota, however, you're around nature a lot. You're always out, in the country, just exploring around. And so I was always really interested in biology and just animals and life in general. As a kid, I always asked why, probably too much. My parents probably got annoyed, but they encouraged me to keep asking those questions and to read books on science and math and engineering. And I think that's how I ended up getting more interested in that. The idea in my family is you have to use whatever gifts you're given to sort of help out society. And so the beauty of research is that I get to do both, especially in this lab. The tools that we develop here and are beginning to understand are going to be the foundation of the next 50 years. It's a really cool place to be, sort of on the cusp of discovering the next new thing that people are going to be relying on to keep them healthy and whole for the next 100 years. We're doing very basic research. I like to think of it like trying to understand a blueprint to a machine. If I showed you a car, but you'd never imagine that you had no concept of a car, but I just handed you this car and said, how does this thing work? You have to figure it out, right? And so, one of the things is you could compare a bunch of different cars and see that, oh, all cars have wheels. I wonder what a wheel does. And then you could try to take it off, and okay, a car doesn't work very well when it doesn't have wheels. That sort of basic research is what we're doing. I guess the short-term goal of what I'd like to do is better develop those blueprints, so people who come after can say, okay, now that we understand how this car works or how this tool works, let's use it to cure, this disease, this heritable genetic disease. So what computer's doing right here, each of these tiny little dots on all of these different places is an atom. And so what it does is it allows that atom to fluctuate and move in real time. Our lab is really welcoming to undergraduates. Everybody understands that it's science and you're going to make mistakes, especially when you're an undergraduate because you've never done stuff before. But they're more than happy to help. And that's the cool thing about science is, it's when you get to a lab, it's like being in a club or something, because you get to be around a bunch of like-minded people who are excited about the same stuff that you are. Science is an immensely impactful field, even just like basic research. You're building the foundations of human understanding that's going to launch the next 50 years of innovation. Just about everything we take for granted now came out of someone doing some sort of basic research. Or you could be someone that designs vaccines, and then you and your team that design this vaccine are responsible for saving hundreds of thousands of lives each year. That, I think, is also just an immensely fulfilling sort of achievement when you get to realize and see. You can literally see the impact that the work that you've done, works each day, which is cool.